Welcome to the Perfect Your Purpose podcast, where my main goal is to connect with inspiring individuals across the country, allow them to share their journeys that have brought them to where they are today and how they are living out and discovering their unique purpose. So I am your host, Danica Tramburg, and I am joined by former Miss Minnesota USA 2015, Jessica Shy. Thank you so much for being on today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now. You're still in Minnesota. What are you doing career-wise?
Yeah, so I think I'm forever in Minnesota, like born and raised, went to school here, like just a lifer, and that's okay. But right now, after, I think a lot of people have experienced being laid off due to COVID and the ups and downs with the job search. So I was definitely one of those people. I got laid off on my birthday last year.
Oh my gosh.
And I know, but had a long journey, and I think really relates to your podcast. And I wish I had your podcast probably more in my life, but now I work at Optum Healthcare doing social media, and I'm just so grateful that I was patient and waited for this opportunity. And so I do that, and I do a lot of volunteering still that's carried with me. So an advocate for the Minnesota Zoo and saving wildlife, and then for Best Buddies Minnesota, so providing friendship and other opportunities for people with disabilities.
It's amazing. So there's multiple things I would like to talk about, but I guess, kind of take me through the experience of just the layoff, like what was going through your head. I mean, what were you thinking? And then finally when you got another job.
I mean, I think I always look for the next thing, right? So like with pageants, you want to win your state and then you want to win national. So I just feel like I have always had that mentality. So even in my job, like what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I just put so much of my purpose into my job. So when I was told I no longer have that, I felt really lost and unworthy and confused and really scared. And so I really took a lot of therapy and a lot of reflection to realize that that's not who I am. And I'm a lot of different things, and even made more time for my volunteer work, and just realized that I'm a whole person. I'm not just my job. And I think that's really what led me to ultimately an awesome opportunity with a great team and people that really support me, because I was honest in what I was looking for. I knew what I was looking for finally, and I knew what made me me, and I got to present that wholeheartedly, versus before I think I just wanted a title or wanted a certain paycheck level. And
yeah,
so it ultimately was a good thing, but it's definitely a tough journey that I don't want again.
Yeah. And I think you made such a good point of just about, like, I think so often I can relate to it, especially, but I think many people can, is putting your identity into your work or your career when you are actually so much more than just that, even though, especially in America, it seems to take up the majority of our time in a week, in a month, and a year. But, you're so many other things. That's just one aspect of your life. So I really love too that you're so involved still in giving back and philanthropy. Tell me more about your experience with Best Buddies.
I mean, so Best Buddies actually started through pageantry when I was a teen. So I can't remember how old I was. I'm like totally not that old, but back when I was a teenager, and I've always had a heart for understanding what it feels like to not feel like you belong. And I never want that for anyone else. And so even in elementary school, like I would be friends with the paras and walk students to class. And there's just small little acts of kindness that, because I would never want that for myself or anyone else. And then it grew, and Best Buddy wasn't in Minnesota. So it was more of an international, and that's why pageants got me involved. And when it came to Minnesota, so exciting, and knew I wanted to be a hand raiser with that opportunity. And I've really just developed in the role and giving as much as I can and volunteering. And Katie, the director here, does such an amazing job. But if you just believe in friendship and know what it's like to have a friend, or even to not have a friend, like you can understand how important this mission is, and to ensure that everyone feels included in their workspace, in their communities, and in their homes, in their friend groups, like your school. You shouldn't ever have fear. And I think Best Buddies is just the most amazing place. And I think even when I have a hard day, I feel like I get so much more out of it than what I give sometimes, because I come out smiling and I feel on top of the world. And I realize that this world is such a big place, but it's such a happy place. And it's so much easier to like forget about the small things or the struggles when you see someone that has way more struggles than I do come in with a big smile and see the light in the world all the time. And so yeah, it's
so true. How do you feel like you can, because I totally agree with everything you're saying. How do you feel like you can kind of maintain that, I don't know, just level of understanding when it comes to, so we have bad days, and sometimes I think we get caught up in the little things. So, when you do get caught up on the little things, how do you work out of that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I give so much praise to my therapist. Like, I wish this should be like a duo thing, because when I realized that I need to get out of myself, like the world is bigger, there's more things going on, like just really worked on that with her and like seeing that. And I mean, learning to laugh, even as easy as that is, just like things aren't that big of a deal. Like
Right.
things are gonna, like, you're never going to think of this moment again, like that you think is like so altering and like ruining your life. Like I probably will forget by tomorrow even. So, I mean, learning to laugh at things, and especially myself, has been a really big lesson and hard lesson. And just knowing I'm a work in progress. I'm not done. I'm going to continue. And so when the little things trip me up, just, I'm a work in progress.
I love it. That's good. That's a really good saying. And I think too, it's important to not only realize that we obviously all are a work in progress. So when it comes to the way we treat others too, I think, because so often you can be like quick to anger, quick to being frustrated or irritated. I know that I can for sure. So it's like, okay, I want other people to have a little bit more grace for me, because I know I'm not perfect. So it's like giving that grace to other people. I feel like it would just make the world go round and make everyone just think a little bit more before they say things. Or I was at Costco the other day, and I was taking my cart like to the side, and they like unload your cart for you. And there was an older gentleman in front of me. So I was kind of giving him space, because you still don't know how people are with COVID. And he's older. I don't know. I just don't like when people are breathing down my neck, like in the grocery store line.
You don't?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, please move. I have like space here. And so I'm just taking my time. Like, I'm not trying to crowd him. Like, I'm going to wait till he gets up at least to like pay. And so I'm moving my cart just to get ready. And the woman, because you always have like two people, usually one checking out and one like helping you load and unload. I didn't even get a chance to yet. And I'm literally the person who would bag my own groceries in the grocery store line. She's like, you can start putting your groceries on the line when someone's not here. And I just looked at her and I was like, okay. Like, just those little, like, what was the purpose of that? Like, it was so rude. Like, I just think we all need to think sometimes about like what we say. Like, does it need to be said? Like, what was going to come from that? Nothing, but just like rudeness. I'm like, okay, like I wasn't doing something like in a bad way, So that just reminded me of that. And I agree, like more grace for everyone and for ourselves too. It's so true.
And I think positive intent, like that's something besides my therapist, my wonderful boyfriend teaches me a lot of lessons, and positive intent has been something he's really taught me over the years we've been dating, and just wishing the best for people, but also expecting it until they prove you otherwise. And I think that just calms so many situations down. Like, I think I'm always on the defense. Like, I think someone's trying to trip me up or, to do something, and they really aren't, And so I think having more positive intent, goes with that grace, that until someone proves you otherwise, just assume that they're trying to help or do the right thing. And even if it's not perfect, that we're all just trying to do the right thing.
No, that's so true. My mom teaches me that for sure all the time. She's like, okay, just remember, like, just because you took it a certain way didn't mean that person was saying something a certain way. but yeah, I think we can all reflect on that in our lives too. Just thinking the best of everyone. And even if you're proven wrong, then well, you're proven wrong, but at least you tried.
Yeah.
When you hear the word purpose, what kind of comes to your mind?
I mean, I think it goes back to the work in progress, but I think it is almost not a negative way, but it's about you. Like it is self-centered. Like you need to do what serves you and what you like, and it's not anyone else's journey. And so my purpose, it's like I really, I listen to your podcast, all of them and all the episodes just to brainstorm, but it's your journey. Like I've been given one life, and it's what I like. It's not what other people like or what other people expect from me. It's not my parents, it's not my boyfriend, work, anything. It's for me. And sometimes it's grand dreams and sometimes it's simple, and that's okay. And I think one of the best, I know you talk about faith a lot and at church, I think one of the biggest things that stuck with me, that not everyone gets all the gifts.
Yeah.
And that just helps me relax so much that, not everyone, there aren't people out there that have everything, and I've just been given one thing or two or nothing.
Yeah.
We all have different things to bring to the table, and it's unique. And sometimes I feel on fire with my purpose, and sometimes I feel like it's not there.
I
And
know.
I mean, so it's just goes back to, I think I need work in progress printed out big and put on my mirror and as a good reminder.
I love it. It's so true. I just actually was reading something this morning, and I follow a bunch of like spiritual kind of accounts like on Instagram and stuff that just have like little blurbs of encouraging kind of things that they say. And it was a video this morning, and it was like, someone jealous of you, question mark. And I'm like, this is interesting. What are they going to say? And then basically it just went into like, God puts favor on people's lives for a reason, and he gives everyone different gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, don't be jealous of someone because of the gift that they have. Like God gave you gifts as well. And
Yes.
and maybe they didn't even ask for the gift that it is that they possess, but they have it. So, we're all God's children, I think. And to just remember that like everyone is blessed with their own unique purpose and gift and talent. And it's just about using it for the good in life. But that just resonated with me. I was like, yeah, it's so true. Because it's easy to look at someone else and be like, she has this and this and this. And like, what do I have? Well, it's like, well, you have this and this and this and this. It's just different.
And we're all on a timeline, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
don't know when they're coming and if they've came already, if they're going to come again. Like you don't know when your gifts are going to come. You don't know when burdens, with gifts come burdens, and you don't always see that in other people as well. And so I think you just got to remember it. Like it's a timeline. Like it's not, I hope I don't peak in high school. I hope I don't
Right.
peak in college. Like I hope I still have a lot more time. And so I think that, and to your point too, if you're wrestling with something, with like jealousy or anything else, like keep wrestling it, like keep working on it, because I feel like that's when the biggest blessing is going to come. So if you are jealous or if you're feeling something towards someone else, like keep wrestling that thought, keep working on that, keep wondering why and asking God why and asking yourself why. And I feel like then the biggest blessing comes after that, because you've really you got to get to the bottom of it, right? You got to get to what's truly in your soul. And so I think if you are seeing, don't like brush it off or be like it's nothing or I'm silly, or really wrestle with it.
Yeah, it's so true.
I think the biggest blessing follows.
It's so true. And asking for, help praying about things. And I think that it may not be in our time that we want to figure something out, but everything always kind of gets figured out no matter what it is. I know too, you were talking about just that feeling of not belonging or fitting in. And I can totally relate to that too in so many aspects. I was never a part of like a certain friend group, but I could be friends with everyone, but I never like really fit into like one mold, and sometimes it kind of left you lonely because you weren't like in a group or something like that. But do you feel like any of those things that you might have went through that led you to feeling that way kind of led you to where you are now? And obviously you've done some amazing things in your life. So
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like a lot of it is self-sabotaging. Like it's something where I do something so amazing and I go, oh, but something has to be wrong with me, right? It can't be all rainbows and butterflies. And so I feel like I had amazing friend groups, I had family, you name it, but I still felt lonely and I still felt like I was missing something. And it's kind of back in college, like, what is that purpose, right? Like, why am I here? Like, I don't really think I've had any discussions of what that means and why I was placed here. And I had so many questions. And so in college, like, I remember like totally wishing like my life away. Like, I was like, I just have no purpose here. Like, I am so lonely. And that's what really drew me to my faith and finding that. And realizing, it kind of goes back to that gifts. Like it was like, okay, I have something,
Yeah.
I got something. I know I don't have them all and I don't have zero. I got something. So I just gotta work on that. And I think it's really opened my eyes to, I feel my best when I'm serving others. I feel my best when I'm in nature. I feel my best when I'm around friends. You just find these really simple things that lead to your purpose. And when you find something like best buddies that provides friendship and serving others, you're like, okay, that's a win. When I find something like a Minnesota zoo that saves animals, that allows me to be in nature and serve others, that's a win. You just find these simple solutions and that really make you feel whole. And when you give up the fight to do it for other people, it just makes it so much easier. And like going to college, like, what do I want to be? And what do my parents want me to be? And then pageants, like, what am I supposed to do to win the crown? Like, and when you finally just like let that go, because it's so exhausting, and go, what do I want? And it sounds super simple, but they're bite size, it's much easier. And you realize you're not alone. I think I did have a lot of things. I was surrounded by a lot of good things. I had a lot of good things going for me, and I still managed to feel alone. And I think just breaking down that barrier and working on my faith. And I mean, that's the best relationship I think you can have. And then everything else seems to be a lot easier and smaller, and you can hurdle anything.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. Last question, if you had advice that you would give to anyone who's kind of trying to find what their purpose might be in this world, what would it be?
I mean, I feel like I gave a lot of advice that is totally self-serving to me. I just have to like say it out loud continuously. But I think an overall umbrella is like, don't get distracted by things that don't serve you. Like, don't get distracted by your parents, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your friends, your favorite blogger. Like, don't get distracted by things that don't serve you, because what's for them may not be for you. And just focus on you, work hard. It might not be now, it might not be tomorrow, next year, but like there is something for you, and you're meant to be here. So don't get distracted by other people and other things that aren't meant for you.
Perfect. You could write a book, I feel like.
Oh my gosh. It'll be all advice that I just need to remember for myself, and then hopefully it serves other people.
I love it. Well, if you wouldn't mind, could you share like where people could find you if they want to just follow your journey and everything you're doing? Maybe they want to get involved in Best Buddies or have questions about volunteering or service.
Please do. I love when people, even if I can help you find your own passion, I would totally love to do that, because it's been a long journey for me as well. But Jessica_Scheu, SCHEU, looks like shoe. But that's me on everything. And I love to connect. We connected through pageantry, and here we are. I don't know, I've been out of the game 6 years and we're still here. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. I'm so glad you could come on. And for anyone listening today, you can find this podcast anywhere that you stream podcasts.